Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. Here we're exploring the coolest weapons from your favorite games, movies and TV shows. We'll be diving deep into the details of these legendary weapons, comparing them to real-life counterparts, busting some common myths and revealing the most fascinating facts about them. In this video we're talking about the most coveted weapon in Counter-Strike, the knife. Those shiny and sleek blades are the ultimate status symbol for players. But let's face it, not all knives are created equal. In this video, we're going to take a closer look at the 5 worst knives from CSGO in real life and why they just wouldn't cut it in actual combat situations. So sit back, relax, and prepare for some serious knife talk. Folding knife. And now let's talk about folding knives. Although in CS the damage or speed of reaching such a knife does not differ from some regular hunting knife, in reality a folding knife has many disadvantages. Sure, they may look cool and compact, but when it comes to real life situations, they just don't cut it. Back in ancient Greece, these knives were just used for everyday tasks like cutting food or killing small animals. Fast forward to now, and they're still just good for opening cans and slicing sausages. Imagine a situation where you're in a fight and you pull out your trusty folding knife, but oops, the spring flies out and your weapon is useless. So why even bother? If you're looking for a knife that you can rely on in tough situations, you might just want to look for a more sturdy option. And let's not forget about the armor factor. How do you expect a knife that's meant for household tasks to penetrate armor? It's just not happening. Also, if we take that same knife from Counter-Strike, it's not exactly clear how you could even pierce some bulletproof vest if you're swinging at someone's chest or back. So let's stick to folding knives for everyday tasks, but leave the heavy-duty stuff to the professionals. Skeleton knife. And now it's time for an infamous skeleton knife. This isn't your average kitchen knife we're talking about today. Now, in CS you'll see these bad boys with a symmetrical blade coming out of a ring guard style hilt. But let me tell you, in real life, skeleton knives are a whole different animal. Picture a solid piece of metal shaped like a knife blade with a bunch of holes and hollow openings in the handle. That's what we're dealing with here, but don't let the cool factor fool you. These knives are off balance compared to a regular knife. And what do we use off balance knives for? That's right, we throw them. Now you might be thinking, why did you put in the negatives? It seems like a cool knife and you can throw it too. But here's the joke. Because skeleton knives are used for throwing, the material they're made of is often not up to par. So you could say skeleton knives are disposable, since they're often lost and not expensive. And let's be real here, we're talking about sport throwing, not using one in a special operation. So don't even go there. In conclusion, skeleton knives might look cool, but they're not worth the money in the long run if it comes to serious battlefield usage. Navaja knife. Third on our list is the legendary Navaja knife. If you're looking for something that's a real showstopper, then you might want to look elsewhere. This knife is as average as they come, both in the virtual world and in real life. But that doesn't mean it's completely useless. According to one popular story, the Navaja knife was born in the Roman Empire. The brilliant minds of that time realized that humans just weren't cut out for combat, unlike tigers with their sharp claws and sturdy paws. So they came up with the solution of creating a knife. The first Navaja knife was made with a bone handle and a real animal claw as the blade. How's that for innovation? But let's be real here. The Navaja knife of today is just your standard folding knife. However, it does have one little drawback. The handle is particularly hollow, which means that the blade often rests inside, and if you're not careful, you might squeeze the handle too hard and end up with a bent blade. But hey, at least it'll add some character, right? But in reality, Navaja is having all the same problems as any folding knife, like it's prone to jamming up because it gets too dirty, and it's got a funky blade shape. And you know what they say, with this knife you can definitely stab someone in a fight if you're a good aimer and a good prayer. Because you don't want to be caught in a situation where you're trying to pull out this knife, open it up and then BAM! You're shot. It's like, hello, I'm trying to do some knife work here. But seriously, the shape of this blade is so strange, you might as well be trying to stab someone with a rubber chicken. Who needs that kind of stress? Stiletto. Fourth, surprisingly, we have another folding knife. Apparently Gaben has some strange love for folding knives. Well, never mind. The topic will be about a stiletto, which by the way, unlike previous knives, has real military roots. Moreover, originally in the history of stilettos, they were not folding, but simply a thin long blade was called such a knife. One interesting fact about this knife is that the predecessor of the stiletto is the so-called dagger of mercy, or misericord, used to finish off the enemy wearing armor. Small size, convenient shape and excellent sharpness allowed it to most easily penetrate through the joints of knight armor between the scales of the cuirass or rings of the mail, thus ending the suffering of a wounded dying warrior. Then something went wrong and in modern times these knives became folding, hence all the emerging downsides that I mentioned earlier. The only thing that reassures is that if such a knife could kill knights, then an ordinary fighter in armor can also be killed. Only you need to aim very well in the weak points of the armor. Bowie knife. And now, ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce you to the Bowie knife. The ultimate weapon for those who want to chop and slash their way through the virtual world of CSGO. But wait a minute, Gaben has tricked us all. According to the good old Wikipedia, the Bowie knife is actually closer to a machete than the hunting knife we all know and love. I mean, have you seen the size of these things? They're not called large knives for nothing, and with a blade ranging from 30 to 70 centimeters, you can go from hunting game to building your own log cabin in the virtual wilderness. After all, the main purpose of such a knife is to chop and deeply cut materials of different densities, ranging from butchering an animal to planing wood. But here's the thing, who in their right mind would carry around a 2-kilogram knife in their pants? No adequate Special Forces fighter or even a terrorist would choose a Bowie knife as their melee weapon. Not only would it be difficult to handle, but let's face it, we can't even plane wood in the game yet. So the Bowie knife may be a good alternative, but don't forget, in real life, size isn't everything. And don't forget to hit that like button, it's like a virtual high five. And if you want to join in on the fun, make sure to hit the subscribe button. That way you'll never miss a beat and can always stay in the loop with all the latest and greatest weapons facts from your favorite games, movies, and TV shows.